Okay, so it's me and you, it looks like, this morning. So
Yeah, I'm sure people will come in later. But
I
I
know
think
Dawn emailed me and she's not going to be able to make it. She's got something
okay.
she's working on.
Okay.
Um, and I know Sandra started her new shift at her job, so she's not going to be able to be here. Stephanie, I'm not sure if she'll be here or not. I know she's been like getting some stuff done around her homestead, so it may just be me and you, and that's completely fine. So
Okay.
talk to me.
Okay, so it's basically been about, I lost a lot during the hailstorm.
Right.
Um and then I guess maybe because of all that standing water that happened after that last hurricane, I had a
Right.
really bad bug infestation
Ooh,
that
okay.
took out a lot. So luckily a lot of my container plants and raised beds are okay, but I did have to remove my cucumber patch, my melon patch, and then I had another patch that just got flooded out and eaten up.
Oh,
The Three
wow.
Sisters garden, I lost that
Right.
completely. So, I've just been like talking to other nursery owners and other small scale farmers, and I offered to help a colleague. And what is so crazy is I've been doing like mostly the plant starts,
Mhm.
but finished product, he was selling his gypsy peppers. And I don't know if you know what gypsy pepper is. They're like little hybrids, and they're an
Okay.
alternative to the bell pepper because bell peppers just take up so much water, and we don't have a lot
What
of
are they
water.
called again? I missed that.
Gypsy peppers.
Gypsy. I thought that's what you said. Okay,
Yeah.
gypsy
And
peppers.
they're
Okay.
like this big, and because everyone's looking for a replacement for the bell pepper because bell peppers take up too much water.
Um,
So we're seeing like tequila sunrise, we're seeing gypsies, we're seeing nardellos, we're seeing those kind of move into the sweet pepper market. Girl,
what?
$8 a pound. $8 a
Who is
pound
paying $8 a pound for some gypsy peppers?
for gypsy peppers. But the thing that gets people is because of the colors, right? If
Ah,
ever you do a color like like the red and white okra, they move that moves so quick because people haven't seen those colors. The purple
right.
broccoli. So we kind of know like it's always the color for the fruit that's a different color that can always garner more per pound.
Yeah.
So gypsy peppers, girl, you realize it's 65 days of maturity.
Okay, so you can do these basically, this would be an ideal hydroponic plant as well, because if you don't have as much water requirement and it's only 65 days to maturity, if you can figure out how to grow these at volume in an
Right.
indoor aquaponic type of a situation, you've got you a good cash crop,
Right,
right?
exactly. For the finished product and for the seed starts. Like you can go all the way through with this one particular pepper. Now, Nardellos, I kind of knew, but like, I mean, mine are, they're still coming in. I mean, we're still eating those, but
Right. So
um,
who is your primary buyer on this? Is it chefs? Is it who buys these?
mostly farmers market patrons because people who just kind of care a little bit more about what they eat because Austin, of course, is the home of Whole Foods. You know,
Oh yeah, it's like the foodie capital of
right.
Texas,
And
if
so
not
what's
the
happening
South.
is since Whole Foods has been taken over by Amazon, people have been looking for alternatives because it's not the same level that they were used to.
Um,
So
Amazon is more of a business focus, and Whole Foods.
right. So you can go to Whole Foods now and almost everything's in a package.
We don't want packaged processed food
Exactly.
when you go
Even
to
like
Whole Foods.
even like the HEB, which is like Texas's grocery store, more and more packaged foods are moving into the produce section.
Nah,
Salads in the bag or strawberries in a box or
right.
and like the loose produce is becoming fewer and far between. So people who still want fresh produce still very much are in the farmers markets. And this is a farmers market that I don't usually do because it's in the southeastern part of the city and I live north.
Okay.
But I just see like this like you said, this could potentially be a really good cash crop.
So what I'm thinking is, based on what you're saying, is it would be a good idea because the farmers market business model is not the most sustainable when it comes to selling your products. This would be an ideal product to put in a CSA.
Okay.
So this would be something good to put in a CSA. so that you know, especially if it's a farmer's market clientele type of an individual, being able to find those individuals, obviously, by, frequenting the farmer's market, but also doing a Facebook ads campaign. And we're going to look at how to do that real quick so you can have that skill set.
Mhm.
Because you're going to have to get in front of the people within your geographical region in order to be able to let them know you exist, right?
Right.
So a part of that is going to be spending a little bit of money on Facebook ads, going
Okay.
to some community groups. Like every city has a community group on Facebook, and going into those types of groups and saying, hey, if anybody's interested, I've got this, right? But then having a funnel in place, and I don't think we've talked about a funnel yet. We may have, but basically that's your automation that will allow for you to have a system that you don't have to touch, right? It may be a situation where the ad pops up on their news feed about the peppers. They click to learn more, and they're able to download something or give you their email in exchange for like a coupon code or something.
Mhm.
Because your goal is to grow that database. And then once they enter your ecosystem by downloading that coupon code or whatever it is, then we put them in a nurture sequence. And that nurture sequence is going to be, hey, this is where the gypsy pepper came from. That might be email number one, to give them more backstory into it. Email number two, maybe a recipe that they could use when they're with the gypsy pepper. Email number three, you get the point. The emails
Right.
basically individual little lessons that you can teach them more about but the thing is, in each of those emails, there's a call to action. Sign up for my CSA and get a pound a week, or get a pound a month, or get a pound a day, or whatever you're able to
Right.
provide. So, but that's the automation. And so what that does is it frees you up from having to sell at the farmer's market and allows you to focus on what you do best, which is production, right? And
Okay.
being able to dial in on production. Now, gypsy peppers, they're small, 65 days to maturity. So if I'm thinking correctly, you could probably grow a whole bunch of these with some alternative light in a 10 by 10 shed. Okay. Or you've already got the greenhouse, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And yeah. Mhm.
You could grow these in pots by the thousands, right? If
Mhm.
you really wanted to just dial in on this. And I think you should, because you're the pepper woman. Like, I almost want to rebrand you as the pepper lady, because you know so much about these daggum things, right? You're telling me stuff about peppers that I've never even learned before.
Mhm.
So when you have that type of knowledge and you're able to take that knowledge and just kind of pigeonhole yourself as the expert in that space, that's better than you doing peppers and tomatoes and, squash and all of these different things, because then you're kind of diluting your voice brand wise. If you
Right.
get hold of this pepper market, like, it seems as if you're already doing to a degree. But the thing about it is we need to get you making some money.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All of this is great. We all love getting our hands dirty, but the bottom line, we all want to do this full time. And right now we can't, because it's not bringing in enough money to pay the mortgage, the light bill and everything like that. But with this, at, what did you say? $8 a pound?
$8.
That's like drug money. Not really, but almost. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
but considering 65 days to maturity, that means that they could be there by October. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, as opposed to,
So,
some peppers that take a long time to germinate.
so let's say theoretically, let's go to my handy dandy. I love my Google Sheet calculators. So I am always
Right,
creating.
like a cayenne pepper. It's 21 days to even germinate that.
Okay, so
You-
let's talk about after they are harvested.
right.
How long do they store?
Ooh, that's the problem. That's the problem. They don't really.
Okay, talk to me about that. So you would have to pre-sell your October harvest basically now.
Right. I see what you. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's all that's
Uh-huh.
is. So if you can't store them, and if they don't store well, that all that means is they have to be pre-sold, and you need to have more than just individuals as customers. You also need to have a few restaurants, right?
Okay. Okay.
So your marketing is going to be twofold. You're going to be marketing towards those individuals in the like community Facebook groups, but you're also going to, have ChatGPT give you a list of all of the restaurants in your city that, do hot fire, Scoville scale restaurants, those
Mhm.
chefs who are going to want what you have. And you tell them, this is what I'm going to anticipate as far as production. Let me see here. Let me get to my calculator first and foremost, because we got to reverse engineer this thing. Okay. I like to reverse engineer because marketing is the easiest part for me. Like, I don't know why everybody struggles with marketing. Marketing is the easiest thing. The hardest thing is figuring out the logistics of growing enough to be able to satisfy your customer and
Right.
have a good quality product. So let's look at that first. Calculator. All right. Now, hopefully you've already unlocked this homestead debt calculator in the community. So I need to know from you, what is your number? What would you like for these peppers to do for you in a gross perspective financially every month?
If I can get, I don't know, maybe $200 a month per pepper, maybe like.
Well, you tell me, let's do it this way. How much is your mortgage or your rent?
1,600.
Okay, so let's do 2,000
Okay.
per month, right? That would be good because you're going to be spending quite a bit of time dealing towards the pepper, so it needs to bring you a return back that makes it worthwhile. So you want to turn your home into an asset, right? Let the
Right.
culture do that. So $2,000 a month, and we're gonna go and we're gonna factor in cash. So we're just gonna call these the gypsy pepper. This is gonna be a cash crop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then per pound, we want to be able to retail them at $8 and some change. So I'm gonna go to cash crop number one, the tab for that. And let me zero out all of these costs because I was working with somebody on a fish farm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we need to get these. So let's talk about seeds. How much are the seeds going to cost?
For every 100 seeds is $15.
$2 for every
$15 for 100 seeds.
15. Okay, $15 for 100 seeds. So we're going to get 1,000 seeds. So that's 10. That's $150. All right. Seeds, it's going to be $15 per 100. Just as a note, per 100. And so clearly they all may germinate, they all may not, but there's going to be some loss there. So we're not necessarily going to get 1,000 peppers,
Right.
but we're going to use some percentage of, disease, non-germination, the dog ate it, a mouse got it, that kind of thing. We'll take off about 20%, okay, for that at the end. But soil, what medium would you say these are going to grow best in? A specific mix?
Yeah, like the peat vermiculite mix. So I think it's 30 for the peat, $30 for 3 cubic yards of peat. And let's see how much the vermiculite is. I mean, the farm calculator is still lost, but I definitely have to buy that. But because then that will help me. Because I have a lot of people too who are trying to offload inventory because they know that I do sell, but
You can, I don't want you to have to buy this. You're in the community. I don't know why it isn't unlocked by now.
yeah, uh-huh.
So what I'll do
Okay,
is,
so and then vermiculite is $9 for 8 for a quart.
okay, so then that just asks, the next question is, how much peat and vermiculite will you need in order to successfully plant 1,000 seeds?
I have no idea because I've never grown 1,000 seeds.
Okay, so how many seeds can you plant if you were planting these in pots? We're going to pretend like you're going to have pots. We're not doing these in ground. We're doing these, they're going to start off in trays and then you're going to transplant, or either you're going to just direct sow them into pots. And we're going to pretend that we can do, let's just not pretend. Let's go to ChatGPT. We'll figure out exactly what we need.
Okay. Yeah, because that's interesting because I would like to have an idea. I mean, and it's like, because I don't think I've ever sold just one thing, but because usually my booth has a series of things, but
you definitely don't want to be a mono farmer. You are 100% correct in having multiple cash crops. However, sometimes you've got to get one started and going and have that be your source of finances so that you can fund the other 9. Because Dr. Booker T. Watley definitely recommends, God bless his soul, that all farmers, small farmers, should have at least 10 cash crops.
Okay.
So
and I have an idea of what I want my 10 to be.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And this one is going to be, everybody's got to have that one that they start with. Mine was rabbit fertilizer, right? Mine, I was able to sell that $7 a pound, then to $10 a pound, Amazon, farmers market, and in the stores, tractor at the feed co-op. So I knew I needed 10, but I had to start somewhere. And that happened to be my somewhere. So for you, this is going to be your pepper, your somewhere, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to tell Chat GPT to pretend that you are an expert in growing gypsy peppers for volume production. Tell me how much peat and vermiculite I need to grow 1,000 seeds. Please also tell me the best types of containers to use to grow gypsy peppers, including, please include the dimensions of the pot, of the containers, how many plants I can plant per container, and the yield that I can anticipate per plant. Here we go. All
Okay,
right.
so 72 cell, which I have.
Okay, so you got that. So 1,000 seeds will require approximately 14 trays. A
So
standard sale.
14. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that's how you start them. You're gonna
Right.
need 14 of those 72 cell trays. You're gonna need a total of 74.32 liters of the mix, which means you're gonna need 55.74 liters. I have it write it into cubic yards.
Okay.
And then 18.58 liters of vermiculite. So there's your breakdown for the 1,000. So
Okay.
here's the containers. So obviously initial germination is going to be your trays. Pots, you're going to need 3 to 4 inch pots for immediate growth before final transplant. So there's going to be a 2-stage process.
Right. Right.
Okay. Final growing containers, 5-gallon pots.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So 12 inches in diameter and 12 inches deep. Oh, only 1 plant per pot?
Yes. Right. Yeah. So you'll germinate them in seed trays, then you step them up. And when I get to that part where you first start stepping them up, I sell those. And those go about $7 a plant.
So you
And
can sell them in 2
then
stages.
you'll have a section that you have, because that gives me revenue in the spring to sell produce in the summer.
Got you. Love it.
Right.
Okay. So we're coming up with the numbers that we need in order to be able to start this venture, because you're going to have to make the investment in the peat and the vermiculite. It sounds like you've already got the cell. And honestly, I would do a whole bunch of yard selling for these 5-gallon pots. Like every time I saw a 5-gallon pot, which is basically a bucket. So if you really want to look at it, you're looking for food grade buckets that nobody wants to, that nobody's using. You'd have to figure out drainage. But old bakeries that have,
Yeah, and there's a nursery who will sell their old pots from anywhere from $1 to $1 to
there you
$5. I don't know
go.
how big.
And see, the thing is,
But you have to look real careful and make sure you clean them good. So yeah.
yeah, you may have to do some things to them, clean them out, make sure that their drainage is okay. But the thing about it is, once you buy these 1,000 pots, you're going to spend a lot on pots. Okay.
Okay.
Some of them
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna
I have.
okay.
Yeah.
But the upside to growing in the pots is you're controlling to the best of your ability, you're controlling your environment, right? Because now if something happens, a flood happens, you're able to move the pots, put the pots up on a, you know what I'm saying? So you're
That's
able
true.
to control and prevent, hail. I don't know. Maybe if you cover them, if they're in the greenhouse, that would be the ideal location for them. And then your greenhouse is only going to hold so many pots. Okay.
That's true.
You know,
We have filled that greenhouse multiple times over.
okay, so some shelving is going to be very key to this
Yeah.
and appropriate lighting. And so you're going to have a little bit of cost, but once you get this system dialed in, and then it's just a matter of filling up the buckets and planting, you're going to have a mass production type situation in your backyard, which is
Right.
super exciting.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Let
so
me
let's
show
look at,
you some of the space that we
yeah,
already have. I'll show you what we have.
please.
So
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll get
it's a mess right now because we are not using the greenhouse at the moment because it's too hot. But hey Mercury. Okay, I'll show you what all right. So all right, here we go. Mm. So here is where we typically germinate in here.
Okay.
So you'll see my
Let me
hydroponic
let
setup
my
here.
window.
And I do have lots of shelving.
Awesome. And this is at the south. Okay, what? Okay, step back and show me where the sun is right now.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of tree cover. So you're getting some sun.
Right. And so I did not put it in direct south facing sun because of how hot it gets.
Okay. Okay. So you.
Here is the current inventory that I've got. I don't know if you can see this here.
Yeah. Hold your phone down. I see that top shelf, which is empty, but I don't.
Yeah.
And then the wall, but I don't see the. Oh wow! Now I can see it.
Okay. So these are medicinal plants. These are toothache plants. These are hollyhock. A couple of and then I have a couple of exotic Tunisian peppers here.
Okay. I love the idea of the second cash crop being a toothache plant, especially for newborns or babies that are teething.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome as a market, as far as new moms are concerned. That's a
Right.
consistent and ongoing market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got a nice setup. So how many feet is that greenhouse?
This is 8 by 12.
8 by 12. Okay, so let me
Yeah.
run those numbers. This is really good, Chanel. You have got it's just a matter of focusing now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Pretend that you are an expert in growing juicy peppers in a greenhouse.
And here are some of the nursery pots. These are some of the larger
Are those 5 gallons?
that I got from the nursery. These are 3.
3. Okay.
Because one of the cash that I wanted to do, I'm sorry for not being focused, is belt. These are hibiscus flowers. And then, of course, figs.
So approximately 24 5-gallon buckets is what you can fit
Mm-hmm.
with adequate spacing for walking and plant growth and maintenance. This setup ensures that the plants have enough room for healthy growth and allows you to move around for watering, pruning, and harvesting. So 24 buckets is 24 plants. Now, my next question is how many peppers will be produced on each plant? So, okay. So each plant is going to give you between 20 and 30 peppers.
Yes.
All right. So we've got 24 plants. This is so good.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite part, by the way, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, I'm good at growing, but then and I'm good at the market because I love talking to customers.
Right.
What do I need to start? Where's the end goal?
Right.
And it's like, it's been helping me get focused because now like you said, I'm picking my cash crops. I'm figuring out what everyone else is charging, not so much what I think it should be, but what everyone else is charging. And that was the best lesson.
Right. So your greenhouse, the one that you have right now, can generate up to 720 peppers. Okay. And how many pounds? How many peppers in a pound? Let me just see that real quick. All right. So 720 peppers is going to be about 112 pounds, 112.5 pounds.
Okay.
So 112.5 times 8, that's $900
Wow.
per harvest.
Mm.
And that's if you sell the peppers themselves and you don't sell the seedlings. So you have a whole nother product with the seedling. So technically, in order to meet your goal of the 2,000 a month, you would need to do that twice. You need to double your space, and you need to have 48 buckets going at any given time versus the 24. And you
Okay.
also need to find ways to maybe even enhance production with certain fertilizers to maybe get better yield.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also right now identifying what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and share this spreadsheet with you.
Okay.
So that you can go ahead and start to work on that. What's your email, Chanel?
urbangardenatx@gmail.com.
There you are. So this particular Gmail now has access to this spreadsheet, this calculator.
Okay.
And then I'm going to also send you the instructions on how to use it. Okay, so that you have an understanding of how
Okay.
to use
Okay.
it. All right. And this is just a little tutorial that you can watch. And obviously, if you have any troubles with it, just shoot me an email or I'll see you next Saturday and we can talk about it. But either way, I think you'll be able to figure it out just by
Yes.
watching that. And so the other thing is I wanted to see is, customers, because this is great. Now you have an idea at least of what your capital investment needs to be in order to really get this particular thing off the ground, because it's one that you want to focus on because of what you know about it. Next, it's time for us to look at some customers. So you're in Houston, right?
No, I'm in Austin. So,
You're in Austin.
One of my best customer groups were the Pepper Geeks of Austin, like the Pepper Geeks.
Oh, of course. That's a perfect.
They would come and so I would set up a booth and they would descend on my booth and then clean me out. Like, so if I would have a booth for 2.5 hours, if one of them got there like 40 minutes later, they would have cleaned out my whole pepper inventory.
Well, then we don't have to look any further.
Right.
That's your customer. So technically you already have your customer. You already have a niche cash crop that will sell. Now we just figured out your logistics, your infrastructure required in order to produce and $900 of revenue. But we do know that you need to go ahead and establish the 5-gallon buckets. That's the thing that you really need to focus on. That and buying enough peat and vermiculite and start to make your mix.
Okay.
So here we go. Let me go back to so technically you're going to need, when it comes to cubic yards, you're going to need where is it? I told it to rewrite and it didn't. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I see
it is. I still don't know what that means. 0.0729 cubic yards.
So that's how much would go in a cell, right? That's how much would go in a cell.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Volume
because it's
cell.
3 cubic yards per bag.
That's what I need to do.
They're saying that's how much would be in this. Yeah.
Okay,
so how many bags would we need?
Yeah. Okay. So let me see here.
So how many bags to grow 48 buckets of peppers in 5-gallon buckets?
All right. All right. Rewrite and tell me. how many bags of vermiculite and how many bags of peat moss that I would need to. How did you phrase it? You phrased it a lot better than what I'm thinking. What did you say again?
To fill like 5-gallon buckets, to fill 48 5-gallon buckets.
48 5-gallon buckets. All right, let's see what it says.
Okay,
All right.
32 cubic feet.
Yep.
So that would probably be about 11 bags,
Yeah.
11 to 12 bags. Okay.
So one bag is 3 cubic feet. So you're going to need 8 bags of peat moss, and it looks like you only need 2 bags of vermiculite.
Vermiculite, yeah. That's just an additive. And then as far as fertilizers, of course, I do like for my YouTube channels and stuff, I do like affiliate links. And it's nothing I'm consistent with, but a few of them do have fertilizer. So maybe we can.
So,
yes, they do have seeds and fertilizers and things.
So you also want to probably look into fish emulsion. I don't know if you have any aquaponics people next door to you, but
I do use fish emulsion.
Okay. I mean, because when you're talking about boosting production, you want the best of the best of the best.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do use it. The only downside with that I've been finding is, of course, I mean, you have the situation too with the dog.
True. They're going to be after your plant.
Right. So I still do use it, but I have to be really like, that's one of the reasons why we built the fence in the back, because he was going after the fish emulsion in there. So I tried kelp, and then of course just any organic fertilizer can really set a dog off. So
yeah, because the rabbit fertilizer does it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it's mostly most organic fertilizer is made out of like fish and chicken waste.
The other thing that you could consider, and Queen Cleopatra do this before everybody else, is worm castings.
Yeah, okay.
They don't tend to attract those animals as much.
That's true.
And you could actually start a vermiculite farm in addition to the pepper. So that could be ultimately a cash crop, because you could bag that and sell that and brand that under my urban garden. The worm castings alone. And when I say the absolute best form of fertilizer, worms do the thing to all of your kitchen scraps, to all of the paper, all of the waste. So maybe consider that as well.
Yes. Okay. Like some vermicomposting element.
Okay. So we're looking at about $1,500 to $2,000 of buckets, peat moss, vermiculite. I don't know how many seed trays you have, but you need at least 14 of those 72 cell seed trays, so maybe about a couple of more of those. But you're looking at about $2,000, and you've already got a customer base. Again, you're only capable right now, based on your infrastructure, of doing 24 pots. So if you can explore ways to grow more than that in that 8x10 space, then that's even better. But your goal in life is, because you can't. I would almost consider getting another 8x12 greenhouse at some point. Right. Or even if there was a place that I could go and grow my second, because you want to definitely plan your plantings so that you're succession planting. So that you have consistency in crop. So you may have to use that 8x10 to succession plant until you get going, where you're able to get another 8x10 or 8x12 shelter. So all of those 24 you can't plant at the same time, right? Which means that $900 is not going to all come at the same time. If you had another shelter, then you could plant all 24 at one time, and then start that next one the next week, right? And then start the seedlings for the next. How long does it take for your seedlings to go from seedlings to 3-inch pot? Like, what is that time frame?
Well, that depends on the pepper. These particular peppers, I'm guessing, like, if their time to maturity is only 65 days, I'm pretty sure it's probably only 14 days by time they're potted up.
Okay, so every 2 weeks, you're gonna need space to put your 3 inches.
Right. Mhm.
So, but that's okay, because guess why? All of your 3 inchers are not going into 5-gallon pots. Some of them
Right.
are gonna be sold as seedlings, as starts. So you need a succession planning schedule
Mhm.
that would allow for you to plant, get your 24 buckets. First of all, you're just gonna be planting all the time. Every week, you're gonna be planting in your
Yeah.
seed. You're gonna start a new set every 2 weeks. That's basically what you're gonna do. And you're gonna be up to your ears in buckets, right? You're just gonna have to find places for the buckets that can't fit in I wouldn't let my 8x12 shelter stop me. My
Okay.
backyard would be full of freaking buckets.
Right.
Okay. I
Right.
would be growing peppers. I would have so many peppers growing. I would have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and zone 4.
Okay.
Zone 1 is my week 1 plant that are going into buckets.
Right. Right. I see you.
Zone 2, those are my week 2. Zone 3, week 3, zone 4. Each zone has 24 buckets. Right. And that'll be good
Okay.
for you too, because you'll be able to do some research and analysis on the difference in the production with those that are not in the greenhouse versus those that are in the greenhouse. Right.
Right. Mhm.
Um,
And
those
that's a
that
whole
are
YouTube video. Mhm.
those that are more south facing than those that are more north facing. So I would put my 4 rows of 8 or my 8 rows of 3. I would have my zones in that setup and in my backyard, and I would put them in different areas so that they're getting different sunlight. And I'm going to have an opportunity now to be able to see, hey, where is the big production coming from? Is it coming from the greenhouse, or is it coming from these over here that are south facing, or is it coming from these over here? So I would have 4 different zones in my backyard. So now I got, instead of just 24 going, I've got 96 buckets. Each zone is a $900 profit center or revenue center. So
Mhm.
now I'm closer to my $2,400 a month, and I still don't have to worry as much about the elements and the environmental factors because I'm controlling my grow with the buckets,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yes. Mhm. Absolutely.
So now you need 96 buckets instead of 1,000, right? And these are 96 5-gallon buckets. And now instead of 9 bags of vermiculite, you need 36. And instead of, I'm sorry, 9 bags of peat moss, you need 36. You just multiply everything by 4. Same with the vermiculite. Now you need 8 bags. Now you plant zone 1, week 1, zone 2, week 2. You go ahead and start your sales now. You go ahead
Mhm.
and start your seedling. Go ahead and start order your seeds and start your sales now. In 2 weeks, you're going to plant 24 in zone 1. That next week, you're going to plant 24 in zone 2. The third week, you're going to plant 24 more in zone 3, right? So you're not going to necessarily need to plant a whole bunch of seedlings. You're only going to need to plant. Actually, yeah, you do need to go ahead and plant all of those because you're going to sell some of them as plants. I keep forgetting
Right.
that. Everything is not going to be peppers. So there is no limit on you starting seeds. So when
Right.
you start seeds, you need to start 14 trays of 72 seeds.
Mhm.
Okay. Because no matter what, the only thing is, out of those 14 trays, so 14 trays and 72 seeds. So that's your other revenue stream. So you have 14 trays at 72. So that's 1,008 starts. Okay. Only 24 of them are going to go in the 5-gallon buckets at a time, right? That's it. So minus 24, which leaves you 984 plants to sell. See, that gives you some intermediary cash, right? So now you got 984 plants to sell at $7 per plant. And this is at week, 14 days to germination. So you can sell them between that and another couple of weeks, right?
Mhm. Yeah, you
$7.
have you have a little over, you have almost 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got that at $7, 6,000. Holy crap. Is that right? That can't be right. Is that right? How much did you say per plant?
$7.
Holy Mac. That's your better cost. That is your better profit center because it doesn't require as much continuing labor and supplies as the peppers do.
Right.
So let me just run these numbers again. 72 cells at 14 where am I getting 14 from? Oh, 14 trays.
Yeah, 14 trays.
That's a total of 1,008 potential plants, potentially, right? And then we subtract out 24 because you're going to start 24 of those in the 5-gallon bucket. So 24. So that leaves 984 potential plants. Now we're going to lose some to this and that and the other, right? So, but we're going to say 984 times 7. That's where your money is, girlfriend. That's
Right,
six
right.
thousand eight hundred
That's
eighty-eight
where the
dollars.
money has been, the seedlings, yeah.
Yeah, the seedlings is where your money is. And I would still, and so with my first thing of seedlings, who are the customers for the seedlings? Is that the farmers market folks?
The farmers market folks, and the pepper folks, and then the plant pop-ups, plant plugs and plant pop-ups.
Yeah,
So
I
most
would
of
do.
those happen in between like March and May. But
Okay,
farmers market right now, farmers markets right now is what's happening. So that's between May and October.
right.
Right.
So basically, right now, what we're talking about is spring of 2025.
Yeah.
Is what we're talking about. You're going to start your CSA though this year. So what I would recommend is you capitalize on the fact that the pepper geeks really love you, and
Mhm.
you start your CSA off with them. Plant your 14 trays, get your seedling started, plant your 24 plants in zone 1, and say, hey guys, I have, do pictures and everything like that. I can help you with the marketing of that. But basically, if you'd like to sign up to be the first to get my, some plants, I would love for you to do that. I'll deliver them. You know what I'm saying? For the first 100 people, I'm going to make sure delivery is included in your, in your subscription. You don't have to pay any extra.
Yeah,
So
usually it was like I'd let them know what market I was at and they could pick it up.
okay, and that's good. But
Yeah.
on a CSA, you want to also
CSA delivery. Okay.
expand that, because you don't want to be limited to selling in just one place.
That's true.
Right? You want to give them the option. You can pick it up at the farmer's market, or if you'd like for me to deliver them to you, then I'll be happy to. And for the first 100 customers, I'm not going to charge a delivery fee, because you've got enough meat on the bone in your profit to be able to deliver these within probably 20 miles and still not lose money. Right?
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm talking $7 a plant. My goodness, I didn't realize the numbers. That's $6,000. That's almost $7,000 a month. Right? So you got a little wiggle room in there to offer delivery for free to their first 50 customers. Let's say, let's not do 100, like your first 50 customers to sign up. And the thing that you get when they sign up is a $25 sign up fee, right? And then every week or every month, they're getting either a pepper plant or they're getting a pound of peppers, whichever one they want. And that number that they're paying is the number that you charge.
Okay. Okay.
So you have got something really great. And then as you add on to your cash crop list, now you tell your CSA members, because the thing about a CSA is those are people who have your undivided attention. They know, like, and trust you, and they want to be your customer. They're saying, I want what you have. So now you don't have to go searching for customers. Now you can possibly hire somebody to be at the farmer's market while you're just at the house doing what you're doing in production mode, because your highest and best use is not sitting at the farmer's market. Your highest and best use is production, 100%. So you're going to get to the point where you outsource and allow someone, maybe a college student or an intern, maybe develop an internship program and have someone man your, that's super knowledgeable. Maybe one of the pepper geeks. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? How would you like to man my table at the farmer's market? Oh, I'd love to. Maybe somebody that's retired. So you're going to have to leverage that labor, because your highest and best use is not sitting at the farmer's market. Your highest and best use is planting seeds, cultivating healthy peppers, and increasing production to the best of your ability.
Right.
If you've got time, yeah. If you
That's funny because that's one of my favorite parts.
yeah. If you've got time to go to the farmer's market, great. But that's not your primary focus.
Right.
Your primary focus is establishing a CSA that will allow for you to focus on your strengths, which is the growing part. And then you have a steady stream of customers. If you got 25 that sign up, 100 people that sign up at $25, that's $2,500 in startup capital. Obviously you give a disclaimer that, sometimes things don't work out as you plan. And the harvest is not going to necessarily be as you expect every single time. They know that. Their investment in you is $25. Okay. They spend that at McDonald's. So it's not like, it's a big, huge deal. but you need that sign up money so that you know that they are serious about being a member of your CSA. And then as far as what they get per week, it's going to be based on the volume that you're able to produce. So that's why you have to focus on production. Because if you have a CSA and they're expecting, you get 100 people in your CSA and everybody's expecting a pound of peppers, that's 100 pounds of peppers. So that means you have to have your system dialed in zone 1, 2, 3, and 4, in order to make sure you got 100 pounds of peppers coming out every month to get everybody their pound a week or whatever the case, right? The other thing is you're going to have to stagger your offer. So your initial offer is not going to be about peppers. Your initial offer is going to be about the plants, because the peppers are going to take a little longer. So since it's a 65-day gestation period, then you market the peppers now, the plants now, because those will be ready in 3 weeks. And in midway through the 65-day cycle, right? Day 30, that's when you start telling people, hey, I'm going to have this many peppers growing. Because at that point, you will have planted zone 1 and you will have planted zone 2, right? Because you're midway through 60 days is 2 months. So actually, you will actually have all 4 zones planted, because you're planting by the week, because you want everything to be coming out weekly. So you'll have 720 coming out week 1, and 65 days from week 1, 65 days from week 2. You'll have another 720, 65 days from, peppers. So each zone is going to produce 720 peppers out of those 24 buckets, give or take. So every week you're planting 700, you're thinking, okay, week 1, I got 720 peppers. Week 2, there's another 720 that I'm going to harvest. Week 3, I'm going to harvest another 7. So let's look at it on the calendar, because it'll make more sense.
Right.
And then we'll kind of call it a day, because I've thrown so much at you and I know you need to get
Yeah,
busy.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
So
But
right
yeah,
now,
there are things like that, like seed time and things like that, that'll show you when you need to plant things,
right.
seeds at harvest. Yeah.
So for production's sake, right here is where we are, August the 3rd, right? Saturday, August the 3rd. So just let's say for kicks and giggles, you planted your first zone week 1. Okay, zone 1, week 1. All right, so that's that. Well, you're not going to harvest those until 65 days later. So that would be not September, August to September, September to October, October to November. So those will be coming out November the 4th. Harvest week, zone 1, week 1. Now, if you follow that back in August, that following week, you plant zone 2, week 2. Well, 65 days later, that one's going to be done. So what's going to happen is every week you're going to have a new crop of peppers. Harvest zone 2, week 2, right? And this week is going to be your harvest for week 3. And this week is going to be your harvest for week 4. So you have a constant new harvest of peppers every single week, and you don't run out. So when do you start marketing your CSA to tell them that you got peppers? Well, you start telling them they're already interested, because they already are getting your plants. Your plants are going to be coming out. If you plant those first zone 1 peppers, those plants are going to be ready by probably week 3. So you tell them about those right now. But when it comes to your actual peppers, you don't have to tell them about those until October, right?
Okay.
Yeah. That's when you start that marketing.
Okay.
So super excited for you.
Yeah, I have never had like that many plants and that many customers. So
Right.
the scale is something I've never done before, but I have an idea of what I have to start and then
Right.
how to, because and before I never really like sat and like crunched the numbers like that, as far as how many bags of soil I got to buy up front, how many seed trays I got to plant, how many. So this is helpful, because
Okay.
at least you know what you're doing, like for 1,000 plants. And I've never done 1,000 of any one plant.
Right.
So I'll have to, definitely I have an idea what's going on.
Right. So now
Uh-huh.
you have a framework from which to build out something that gives you the thing that you want per month, and that's $2,000 a month.
Right.
Every zone is $900.
Mhm.
Every seedling is $7.
Mhm.
So because you can only plant one zone a week, that
Mhm.
means your 14 seed trays are going to have the potential to do 900 and some odd seedlings. Okay. And your job is to sell those 900 and some odd seedlings so that you can have a new set of empty seed trays to start, because you need to plant the next 24 out of that into zone 2. So like I say, every week you're going to be planting. Like that's going to be your thing. Like you're going to be too busy to do too much else, right?
Right. Right.
Because that's how you do mass production. You have to keep your seedlings going. And you have to have a good place and a system for them to survive in all conditions. So you might be starting those in the greenhouse, right?
Mhm.
And then you bring your buckets in when it's time to, you'll figure that part out, but and you'll get it dialed in. But you have the potential to turn your farm into an asset. Because with this, you're going to be able to take care of your mortgage and maybe even a couple of extra bills.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never grown at this scale before, so I'd like to scale up and see how it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions for me?
No, but there's a couple other plants that I wanted to make sure I put on the list
Okay.
that are really good producers that have short germination times, and those are kiku melons.
Okay.
And then the French sorrel, which is a leafy green.
Sweet. So why don't we do this? Why don't we focus on the
Peppers.
gypsy cucumbers, and when you sell your first set of trays of seedlings, let's take money and invest into another space, another 8x12 space that you can start your next cash crop.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never gone to any market and just sold one thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is your CSA is what you're building now. We're not market
Right.
focused anymore,
Okay.
and we're
Right.
CSA focused. And we
Okay.
know that there is significant demand for the gypsy pepper, so we're going to take advantage of that. That's a very good marketing piece of knowledge that for a fact that people love these things and we're willing to buy them. If
Mhm.
we didn't have that knowledge, we would not be doing this, right?
Okay.
But
Right.
because we have that knowledge, what we want to do is establish a CSA. Another thing, the reason that you want to stay focused on this just at the beginning is because your customers have already told you, your pepper freak, your pepper geeks have already told you they will clean you out. So if
Mhm.
you don't serve their needs, then what's going to happen is they're going to find somebody else who will.
That's true.
This is your time to own that space
Right.
and start with the gypsy pepper, and then obviously you reintroduce things that they want. You might want to
Right.
do this melon and this and that.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, focus on keeping them happy. So
Mhm.
start with a gypsy pepper, and to be honest, I would ask them what they want me to grow next. I wouldn't have any particular cash crop in mind next. I'm going to let my customers tell me what they want, because those are the ones that are going to give me money.
Okay. All right then.
Okay?
All right.
I know it's going to be hard letting go of all those different varieties of plants, but I
Right.
think you're going to find that that's going to be successful for you.
Okay. All right then. All right.
And
Well,
you're
thank
going to be able to you'll be able to do others. It just right now we need to focus on 2,000 a month.
Okay. Okay then. All
Okay?
right. All right. Thank you.
Sound good?
Uh-huh. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see here. Well, since it was just you and I on this
Mhm.
call, I'll go ahead and record this, and I'll definitely upload it to the community.
Okay.
But I am starting to coach. So I was wondering if you would be okay with me putting this on, and you can put it on your YouTube as well if you feel comfortable. But how would you feel about me using this on my YouTube channel, this session?
Sure.
Is okay?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll tag you on it. And then obviously if you want to upload it to your channel as well, I would be completely fine with that. Right.
Okay.
I think that'll get some views for you and me.
Okay.
So,
All right then.
all right, I'll
Okay.
send it to
Thank
you when
you.
it's ready.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chanel.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.